This is Pua. She's a pot-bellied pig. She was named after the Disney movie Moana, and she's 1 year old. Today, Pua will show you the 3 most important things you should do when you visit Colonial Williamsburg. The first and most important thing you must do is to make sure you meet one of the nation's founders. There is an app with a character finder that you can download before you visit. Many times they perform on the Charlton stage. Check the calendar events for the schedule. Make this a top priority on your itinerary, and then plan the rest of your visit around this event. Oh wow, Pua, look! Who's that?
What's your name, my love? Olivia. Oh, how wonderfully poetic. A very Shakespearean name. And Miss Olivia, I don't wish to alarm you, but I think there is a swine right behind you.
That's a pig.
Oh yes, I know. And a pig with pink toenails. Miss Olivia, I know you came up to me thinking I was the most interesting thing in the city, but I will tell you, that is the most interesting thing I've seen all day.
We didn't realize it at first, but this is the very charming and kind Mr. James Madison. He's absolutely wonderful. He is the father of the Constitution and will be the nation's 4th president.
Now, what is this fine creature's name?
Her name is Pua, P-U-A.
Pua?
Uh-huh.
Hello, Pua.
Say hi. Come here, Pua.
Goodness.
Say hi.
Look at you.
Say hi.
Oh my gracious. May I pet her?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Pua.
Pua, look at you. Oh my gracious.
Angelina.
Hello, Pua. My goodness. How old is Pua?
She just turned 1.
1 year old. And how old are the both of you?
He had a wonderful conversation with Pua and asked her a few questions. He even addressed her as Miss Pua when he talked to her. Then he had a wonderful conversation with my brother and me.
Oh, what a wonderful thing. And I beg your pardon, what are your names?
My name is Angelina, his is Giovanni, but we call him Gio for short.
Giovanni, but Gio for short. My name is James Madison, but you know, my mom calls me Jimmy for short. What fine names.
He is one of the nicest people I've ever met.
It was so nice to meet you, Mr. Madison.
Pleasure was mine. Thank you for allowing me to visit with your 4-legged friend.
Absolutely.
Goodbye, Miss Pua, with your beautiful pink nails.
The first time we came, we didn't even know they had any of these important characters. And on the second visit, we met Mr. Thomas Jefferson at the coffee house. It was a magical experience, just like our very first encounter with Mr. Madison this morning. Meeting these 2 nations' founders is like meeting Mickey Mouse at Disney World. Mr. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence and will be the 3rd president of the United States. He is very philosophical and loves to discuss any topic of your choice, from art and music to politics and science, and of course, history.
I've not actually fought on the fields of bloodshed. I do my fighting on the fields of theory, thought, philosophy, law. I don't spill blood, I spill ink. But it should be said that before there is any type of revolution that necessitates the spilling of blood and war, there's first a revolution of the mind. If a people adopt sentiments that coerce them to no other choice but to engage in bloodshed to create a society which also adopts those philosophical sentiments, this is the general course of things. We see revolutionary philosophy taking place in the mind first.
That's 1774. They haven't done any of that stuff yet.
So, we call ourselves revolutionaries. We don't call ourselves founding fathers. We call ourselves philosophers. We call ourselves sometimes traitors, patriots, depending on the title that you have. Mr. Washington is a colonel. I'm a colonel as well. We are lawmakers, we are lawyers, we are planters, we are farmers, and we just happen to live in a time when revolution was a necessary final step. We found ourselves at the seats of the table, wherein revolution was not just discussed, but cemented.
There's a metaphor that we have. So, you trained with George Wythe, right?
Indeed, his home is just there. I studied under George Wythe for 3 years, and then I took the exam to become an attorney. You must have 2 attorneys present at your examination. One of my attorneys present was George Wythe, so I already had an in. And my other attorney examining me was my first cousin, so I passed.
Isn't he wonderful? And this is our first time meeting Colonel George Washington. He was the commander of the Continental Army and the first president of the United States.
How is Martha?
Quite well, so Mrs. Washington is quite well, sir.
Good, good. And on the farm?
Can't complain. It's good enough in hand that I can leave it for a few weeks to come down for business with government.
I love it.
We were just talking about that with Mr. Jefferson earlier, about farming and all that sort of work.
I love meeting the nation's founders. I love how they talk. They are also polite
Hello, little one.
and have the best manners. Pua, Colonel George Washington's horse, is checking you out. He's so handsome. Say hi. So these are only 3 of the 14 nations founders that they have here at Colonial Williamsburg. Even with some exhibit closures, there's still a ton to see, and it's impossible to fit it all in one day. So after you set aside your time slot for when you will meet one of the nation's founders, the second thing you must do is tour the top 3 exhibits: the Capitol building, the Courthouse, and the Governor's Palace. Right now we are showing you the Capitol building. Before you come to Colonial Williamsburg, read up on some of the history on their website or in a textbook so you could get the most out of your trip and ask some great questions. Now we will head over to the courthouse. It's just down Duke of Gloucester Street. So this is the courthouse. Before COVID, you could attend court hearings and trials. My mom even participated in one and sat right up here. But now with social distancing restrictions, they are currently unable to hold them. They hope to resume them once restrictions are lifted. When you are done with the courthouse, continue west on Duke of Gloucester. Then turn right on the Palace Green, and you will see we definitely saved the best exhibit for last, the Governor's Palace.
We're all about the lifestyles of the royal governor.
Remember meeting Mr. Thomas Jefferson on his brown horse? Well, he lived here when he served as the 2nd elected governor of Virginia. Wow! Look at all the cool stuff there is to see. We actually were able to fit everything in this video in one day. But to get a good feel for Colonial Williamsburg and see a good portion of it, you really need at least a 2 or 3 day ticket.
230 muskets, 292 swords, and 18 pistols. Later we'll head to what was then considered the largest ballroom in Virginia.
We used to be able to go upstairs and tour the beautiful bedrooms. But again, government restrictions are in place because of the potential of spreading COVID from touching handrails. So Colonial Williamsburg put virtual tours online on their website so you can still see the upstairs of the Governor's Palace. They also have virtual tours of some of the other exhibits as well. Colonial Williamsburg has done an excellent job in providing a wonderful experience while complying with the new restrictions placed upon them. The palace has beautiful gardens. Okay, so after you are finished touring these top 3 exhibits, the third thing you must do at Colonial Williamsburg is visit one of the tradesmen. I like the blacksmith the best.
A few moments later.
Okay, so we finally made it here to our last stop, the blacksmith. Look at all the cool stuff he made. And watch how he does it. I love watching the sparks fly. It's so exciting. Wow! So cool! So those are the 3 things you must do when you visit here. Meet a nation's founder, tour the top 3 exhibits, and visit the blacksmith. Cool, look what's coming. If you can squeeze it in, the carriage rides are so much fun. And the driver gives you a tour and overview at the area. If this is something you want to do, make a reservation right away because they sell out early. I had fun with you today, Pua. In the next video, Pua shows you some of the free things you can do at Colonial Williamsburg.